This being Black History Month, I'm looking at those who inspired me throughout my life to bring me to this point. And I guess I can begin with my first inspiration probably was my mom um, and family. I'm going to say mom and family, which consists of a village of people who raised me and inspired me to be the best I could as a young black child, to succeed um, and to overcome obstacles that I may come across. I think the mantra with my family was to be the best, and not to overachieve, I guess, but to do the best we could as an example for others. I think sometimes in the black community at my time that we were kind of pushed to be an example for other people, maybe for certainly the white population, to be seen as equal and qualified and good and not to do anything wrong because there was so much negativity against us anyway that would just further bring down, let's say, our race or our family. But my parents and my grandmother, who was valedictorian of her class, in her day and time, was an inspiration to succeed, and education was certainly key. And I think I really worked towards that cause. I'm the type of person that's, someone might say, a people pleaser, but I tried to do what I felt was best to make my family proud and to achieve as best as I could. I've certainly failed at many things, but really did try to instill that behavior of, being good to people, being kind, showing good moral character. That was really important, and just working for the betterment of others. I realized that later in life as I grew into high school and other parts of my life. My mother, along with other folks in my community, saw the wisdom of a woman in our neighborhood. Her name was Alma Lewis. She established the Alma Lewis School of Fine Arts probably back in the mid-50s, 1950s. And I was given an opportunity to attend her school, as many young black children were at that time, mainly girls, a few boys. And I probably spent 16 or 20 years with Miss Lewis. And she was a major influence in my life. In the world of dance, certainly. I'm not a professional dancer, aspired to be one, but I never became one. But along with studying with her and the arts and its music, its dance, its theater, you develop a really good understanding and love for the world, so to speak, and in all the possibilities that are out there. And in her subtle way, which she wasn't super subtle, she was very direct, but in her subtle way, we always knew as young girls studying ballet, which was not to be an opportunity for many of us, that we could do this. And she just opened up this world that I had not seen, and had just invited all of us in to experience the culture, the art, the music, the discipline of dance. But I remember her saying to me once when I was in class, and I was probably about 12 or 13, and she did an example, and she said, if they jump here, you have to jump here. And we knew exactly what she meant. We would go to the ballet probably once a year. She would take a group of us, and it might have been the Boston Ballet Company or the Russian Ballet Company visiting, and we would see these spectacular dances, and here we are, some of us long and lean, some of us short and stubby, or whatever. How are we going to look like that? But through hard work, you can, and she taught a lot of that. So she was just a very positive influence in my life through this day. She has certainly passed away, but she inspired me in all of that and had opened up a whole world of opportunity in art and culture that I simply adore this today. So being black and being a young mom and married, and I had 3 black young boys, I didn't think of it back then as it is thought about today with, young boys today, with Black Lives Matter and all of that. But they had a lot of, black uncles and, cousins and friends that I think helped shape them, certainly with their father as well. I think about it more today because it's much more conscious, I guess, out there every day. There's something going on that you have to be much more aware of. But I grew up in a time, and my children did, where it was certainly, you had to, look out for your children and watch them, but I don't feel it was quite as hard as it is today. Maybe I sheltered them somewhat, kept them a little bit more under my wing than just throwing them out to the community and in the world, so to speak. But I feel pretty confident that they grew into very young, able men who, are contributing to the world and who were good parents to their children that they have now. So Black History, it's, we have this month that we celebrate all the accomplishments of those who have come before us. And I think it's a great time to do that. I think it's something that we need to recognize throughout the year, and I think it's happening more in today's society, where there's so many firsts and seconds, but we want to get to the point where there's so many hundreds and more, so there's not always the first this, the first that. We are one race, and it's the human race. And if we don't recognize that, then we're in a sad state. There are many cultures within our race, but we are one race, and it's a human race. We all originated from Africa, and it's a time where we need to embrace us as people, as human beings. And I know everybody wants their identity and their this, that, and the other, which is great. I'm not saying you have to blend in with everyone, and be who you are. But as a human race of people, human beings, we need to be able to understand one another, show love for one another, and, treat one another as the Bible says. And that's pretty much it.